Hello, everyone, and welcome. The next session for our document accessibility track is Deep Dive into Automated High-Volume Transactional Applications. Oh, sorry, wrong track. No, the next one is Allyable, Digital Accessibility Beyond Just Documents. My name is Ligia Mora. I'm a product manager for Crawford Technologies. And before I introduce this session's presenter, just to let you know, if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to enter them on the pane to the right, which is the chat feature. Enter any comments or questions you have, and we will address those at the end of the session. So without further ado, let me introduce our presenter, David Addy. David is Allyable's co-founder and CEO. He has a vision, a simple approach that gives companies a complete platform and the tools to make digital accessibility fully accessible while complying with international regulations. So David, take it away.
Hello, everybody. I'm David Addy, Allyable co-founder and CEO, and I'm thrilled to stand on this stage and speaking with you all. I will start with a confession. I'm disabled myself. I was diagnosed with a hearing disability in my late 20s. I remember how in the beginning of my career as a young entrepreneur, I was shy of my disabilities and tried to hide it as much as I could, but it never prevented me from dreaming big and achieving my goals. I noticed that I'm not alone in this. I met other people with disabilities facing various challenges, some of which working with me today at Allyable. Personally, I have two conclusions. First, I will stop being shy and hiding my disability. I will be proud of it. It also gave me the perfect excuse when I speak in English, when I'm using funny words and some people don't really understand my English. This may sound funny, but this is my reality. Second, I realized that I could use my knowledge and experience to other people like me by pushing business to make their digital access accessible. As that I design and create our current business, Allyable. Allyable built most incredible accessible platform in the world. And our teams are devoted to be good and to do good. As business, that doing good is good for business. I am proud of the fact that me and my company has been acknowledged as a worldwide expert in digital accessibility by the United Nations, EU, and the US government, and accept that great honor. It proves to me that anyone can do anything, and any business can do good as we are doing. It's starting with designs their digital asset with accessibility in mind. By doing so, more people with disabilities like me, more older people can join the digital transformation, improve their life, and most important, can get equal access. At Allyable, we devoted our resources to making sure the digital accessibility journey for businesses will be easy to use, providing any business the best tool to achieve the goals efficiently, with less complexity, and with fair cost. We all know accessibility impacts billions of people around the world, preventing them to use the internet as intended, which leads to more businesses that do not make the digital asset accessible lose a lot of money. It's not only about lawsuits. It's about enabling easy access and simple usage, also to this which limited. It's amazing to read an article which explained that 66% of the internet transaction being failed as accessibility didn't serve properly. We are speaking about $13 trillion, and that it's only for e-commerce websites. What about lack of work, as your intranet system are not enabling equal access to all? Are we really ready for digital transformation? As a result of that, amazing facts, more governments around the world adopt the VCAC Digital Accessibility Guidelines as a new law. Most of them started enforcing the regulations already before the EU and Canada eventually joined on January of this year. Organizations must understand that not complying at all or complying only in one country will not protect your business from a lawsuit that may arrive from other countries you address. In fact, the US government set clear demands to some new tenders to include accessibility Section 508, enable as a mandatory requirement. Next to the public sector, We are starting to see a move from the big tech names. Microsoft said just 2 weeks ago a clear digital accessibility roadmap for the next 5 years. Google declared that usability is equal to accessibility. Why is this important? As Google Chief Innovation recently mentioned in one of his interviews on his digital future after the impact of COVID-19, he said, what has changed that the world today, it's much more focused on sustainability, inclusion, diversity, and accessibility. We will see that diversity, equality, and accessibility combined together, it's part of the inclusion revolution that we all lead to equal and better digital life. It's not surprising that Google SEO, the search engine optimization, the algorithm that decided the rank of results of any digital business search will factor in a new user experience. The new algorithm, it's planned to launch next month. This new algorithm includes the new usability equal accessibility, and we predict it will impact millions of e-commerce and online businesses results by Google. To all the tech experts that remember 2015 when Google changed their algorithm to become mobile first and the impact it's made in the online industry, we believe that in the next few years, usability and accessibility will be integral and as essential as mobile in ranking. Business that rely on non-function accessibility widget or will assume that insurance policy will keep them protected from lawsuit will find themselves losing their rank on Google. As a result, will losing money. Instead of investing in digital accessibility initially, right now, to start right now, they will have a heavy impact to fix the issue and loss of revenues, all because they didn't design the digital assets with accessibility in mind. Businesses will need to design and develop the digital asset with accessibility in mind to ensure the risk mitigation and receive a better rank by Google. We all know that developers, designers, content writers, testers, marketers, and product managers are responsible for building the organization's best digital assets that will lead to more revenues. But how you will lead your teams to think and perform correctly? Allow me to provide some tips. First, provide the tools that will help them to design with accessibility in mind. Focus on their abilities. Second, make smart audits to figure out your compliance issue so your organization can fix the issue in no time to provide better service. Third, set rules and procedure to create a standard in order to manage the cycle faster. As time is money and business who will lead definitely will win. This will lead your business to increase business impact and reputation, which then results for qualified employees to join, even if they have some disabilities. With everybody all the time speaking about diversity, it starts here. And take your business to new heights. And this leads to more happy customers. No doubt, more people can use your services. Designing with accessibility in mind will lead to reduced complexity and heavy maintenance costs. I have a story that I always remind that I heard once that a person with color blindness used an e-commerce website to buy a dress for his wife. He purchased a yellow dress by mistake instead of the red one. Oh, his wife, she really didn't like it. These frustrated customers impact the business by now needing to return the dress. It's not stopping there. Their delivery return costs, a few phone calls and emails being sent, managed by the business support center, costing even more loss to the business and most importantly, losing a sale and a customer. It's just start from digital accessibility. If you will do it correct, it will lead to double win by cost and by benefits. Of course, that doing correctly in advance will lead not only to wins, it will also reduce your organization exposure to lawsuits when you meet compliance correctly without relying on non-functional and not compliance widget and poor or manual scanning that are too slow and too shallow. Allyable 360 platform can help each business achieve that easily in a cost-effective way by providing a full-stop accessibility platform that it's fit for each audience in your organization, starting with developers and designers and ending with production. We integrate smoothly with your agile methods, helping reduce complexity and cost for your business digital accessibility project. By building a full cross-organization standard, it's very important to do it properly. We are here to helping you. We devote our resources to making sure that all digital assets are accessible, which is why we'd like to provide everyone in attendance today a complimentary scan of their site using our Ally Audit tool that will assess your current compliance status. Now that we understand the importance of meeting compliance, we can take the first step on our journey to providing equal access to all. It's been my pleasure speaking with you today. Feel free to reach me out with any question that you may have, or reach my team on our booth. Any question?
I will ask people to put in their questions. If you have any questions, feel free to enter them in the chat session and I will read them off to you, David. While we wait, could you tell me what is the difference between the widget and the overlay offered by other players in the market in Allyable's toolbar and scanner?
Sure, absolutely. First, I want to start because I hear the previous presentations, people speaking badly about overlays. And I can agree, because many companies use the overlay in order to send false information to the market. Overlay, it's a great tool for first ed. It's a great tool to identify and fix problems. Still, your R&D teams and your developers will find, or your organization will find the resources and the priority to solve the problem. But definitely, it does not need to replace the remediations that are done with your code, with your source code. Doing or developing, designing with accessibility in mind will solve the problem. The overlay is supposed to help. So that's the first main difference between our overlay and the other overlays that are offered by the other players in the market. Secondly, the widgets. Widgets, it's a nice tool to improve user experience, but definitely it's not making your sites accessible. We against that. We against any false information that's saying, hey, we have a widget and our website is accessible. Our digital asset is accessible. It's incorrect, and it's actually lead you to a lawsuit. The combination, the right combination should be done by allowing overlay and widget for improving the work, reducing the time, provide the first ed, but in the same time to integrate smoothly with the integration with the continuous integration, continuous development system, so that your developers, your testers can learn from the process, can remediate the problems immediately in the source code. And with that, to keep all our platform fully accessible. And we must understand, widget and scanners, in most cases, are relevant only for public websites. However, when you deal with intranet, with platforms that beyond password or permission, and have other limitations, widget and other scanners cannot help in you. This is what differentiates ourselves, distinguish ourselves from us and from any other vendors in the market.
Thank you, David. There is a question. It says, David, what are you most excited about as you look at the market in 2021? Is there anything that stands out?
Yeah, so first I mentioned that during my presentations, I think that what is going on right with the big names, big tech names like Microsoft, Google, even Amazon and others, that start taking accessibility as part of their core business. They understand that it's part of the inclusion revolution. They will invest heavily to make it better and faster. When they do it, the rest of the market will follow. I'm glad to say that Allyable, it's already there. We exist there for the last 2 years. We have the experience, we have the knowledge, and our platform, it's already functioned in order to help any business, no matter if it's a Microsoft, Google, and others, even if they are small boutiques companies or even restaurants, to help them to join to this journey and make their digital asset accessible. It's part of their customer success. It's part of their impact, doing good. Doing good, it's good for business. And we are here to help and assist to anyone that wants to make the digital asset accessible. And I'm excited about this change that's happening in front of our eyes. We wait for that so long.
Okay, thank you. How would you suggest building a unified work process around digital accessibility, around a digital accessibility project when most people work remotely and use different tools and a different set of rules?
That's a great question. Everybody knows that the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, impact all of us. We find ourselves working from home. With the children, with the dogs, sometimes it's very hard. And imagine now that the organization now for digital accessibility that required by the law require you to use different tools. Some of them freemium, some of them integrated, some of them you pay for. And each one of us working separately. The information it's not gathered together. The data doesn't share. The people cannot join together and work on the same project because it's complex. They need to send an Excel files and share what the violations that they found. Someone else in the other sides of the world need to understand what they're speaking about to figure out, so you need to do the job again. It's increased dramatically the cost and the expenses of any business. With Allyable, what we try to do is to build a standard, meaning one platform, one-stop shop, everybody working in the same way. No matter if they are developers that working on their browser or testers that working on their browser, directly from the browser. We allow them to identify violation, to remediate violation, to open the tickets to the R&D teams in the same language like the other people that working on our platforms will use. It's reduced dramatically the complexity. It's reduced dramatically the cost. It's create for us or enable to our customers to deliver a much more faster digital accessible platform. And it's very important to stick with that. Creating a standard, it's very important. And I think that any business doing that anyhow, when you bring a new sales guy to the company, you are doing a sales onboarding. When you bring a new customer support or customer success to the company, you do the same process. The same story, it's about developers, how you train them fast, how you teach them to achieve the goals. With our platform, we collect everything in one place. So each audience will find his response, its reply, its answer in the same language like any other in the team. That's the power of unified communication. That's the power of Allyable. It's a one standard platform.
Well, thank you. There's another question. How have you incorporated AI and crowdsourcing into the Allyable solution?
So we decided once the AI started to pop up in the market a few years back to take the AI to a different direction, not just to do a scanning like a rule check engine that is very limited, because digital accessibility, it's about the user experience. So we use the AI in order to identify any violations that every end users deal with when you approach to your pages, to your systems, to your digital assets. Meaning that if someone arrived from a specific computer and someone else came from a smartphone or tablet, if they came from different browsers, if they came from different locations with different permissions and with different set of parameters that they're only them included, we know to identify that, and our AI actually scan each one of them behavior, identify each one of them particular issues or violation, match it to the guidelines and the big data using image processing and machine learning in order to reply fast and easy to solve these problems immediately. So that's how we're using AI. That's the reason why our scanning and audit tools, they are the most advanced, because no one can do scanning manually that we actually check in one time 1 million different unique users. That's our advantage.
Okay. Next one is, when solving accessibility violations, there is a need to solve them again and again. Work never seems to end. Why would Allyable be the right choice?
That's a good question. So once you're working correct and you design with accessibility in mind, I assuming that you will solve the problem permanently because you already designed it with accessibility in mind. And I actually pushing for and I recommend it for this direction. But in the same time, if you deal with fix the problems afterwards or fix the violations afterwards. We provide tools that will allow you to remediate the problems all by overlay, but just as a first step, but in the same times to declare or define open tickets to the R&D team so they can fix the same problems without, let's say, wasting a lot of time in the source code. But once the source code been fixed, our technology is smart enough to figure out that the problems doesn't exist anymore. And then the problems will remove from our panels, from our platforms, and will mark as done. This is the way it's worked, and in that way you prevent yourselves to repeat again and again about violations that you already fixed. We have also the ability to allow to the customers to be fully flexible and define which rules he wants to define, which rules he wants to audit, what his action when he finds violations. For some reason, they have some violations that organizations say, hey, we know about this violation. At these times, we're working on that on the source code. Please don't bother us with that anymore. So they can ignore it easily. It doesn't delete. It will check all the time, but it will be in the ignore list in order not to bother them in their ordinary work. That's reduced dramatically the time consumption that dealing with digital accessibility projects, but also it's allowed them to understand and learn exactly from the violations in order to prevent and design the new digital assets that they're building with accessibility in mind.
Well, thank you so much for very thorough answers. I appreciate that. I don't see any more questions. So with that, I will thank you for your time and for a wonderful presentation. I invite everybody to join us for the last couple of sessions during our summit, whether it's in the document accessibility track or one of the other tracks. We'd love to have you, and definitely we'd like to see you at the end of the summit celebration for the Cinco de Mayo celebration in the exhibit hall. And with that, we conclude our session. Thank you so much, David.
Thank you very much.